Family, let me tell you something straight from the start. The greatest revenge you can ever have against pain, betrayal, or disrespect is not lowering yourself to match it. It's rising so high above it that the one who tried to break you has no choice but to watch you shine. When someone hurts you, the first thing that rises up inside of you is pain, disappointment, and often anger. You feel like your trust was violated, your value dismissed, and your heart mishandled. But here's the thing. What you do with that pain will either trap you or transform you. Pain by itself is not the end. Pain is a signal. It's a sign that something is shifting, something is breaking, and something inside of you has the chance to be rebuilt stronger than before. The person who hurt you may think they left you weaker, but in reality, they handed you the raw material for your next level of strength. Think about it. Every great story of triumph comes with a chapter of suffering. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is refined by fire. Muscles grow only when they are torn down through resistance. And your life is no different. That hurt you feel, that betrayal you endured, is not meant to keep you broken. It's meant to push you into growth you never imagined you were capable of. When you decide to see the pain not as punishment, but as preparation, you change the entire meaning of what you went through. The truth is, pain has two paths. It can make you bitter or it can make you better. If you allow it to, hurt will shrink your perspective, lower your energy, and convince you to live in survival mode. But if you flip the script, that same pain can expand your vision, increase your capacity, and train you to live in abundance. Growth never comes in comfort, and if they hadn't hurt you, you might never have discovered just how much potential you truly have. It's easy to want to stay stuck in the story of what they did to you. Replay the words. Rehearse the betrayal. Relive the disrespect. But every time you replay that story, you keep yourself chained to it. Growth demands that you stop rehearsing the injury and start rewriting the narrative. Instead of asking, why did they do that to me? Start asking, what am I supposed to learn from this? That single shift transforms pain from a burden into a blessing in disguise. Growth also requires that you understand the difference between a wound and a scar. A wound is still bleeding. It keeps you weak and vulnerable. A scar, on the other hand, tells the story of healing. When you grow through pain, the wound becomes a scar, and a scar is proof that you've been through something. But you survived it. You are no longer the same. You are wiser, stronger, and more resilient. And those scars become reminders that nothing anyone did to you can keep you from what's meant for you. Part of growing through pain is refusing to waste it. Don't let what you've endured go to waste by staying the same person you were before. If someone hurt you, let it make you sharper in discernment, clearer in your boundaries, and stronger in your faith. That hurt should upgrade your character. It should teach you not only who to trust, but also how to trust yourself again. Every experience becomes a lesson, and every lesson becomes a stepping stone. Growth doesn't mean ignoring the hurt. It means processing it in a way that turns it into wisdom. Cry if you need to cry, but don't stay in the tears. Pray if you need to pray, but don't just talk, listen. Journal your thoughts, release the anger, and let forgiveness set you free. Because the moment you forgive, not for them, but for yourself, you break the chains that keep you bound to that moment of pain. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was okay. Forgiveness is saying, I refuse to let what you did control the rest of my life. When you choose growth, you are choosing to rise. You are choosing to take what was meant to destroy you and use it to develop you. You are deciding that your destiny is too important to be hijacked by bitterness. Growth means you shift your focus from the person who hurt you to the person you are becoming. And that shift changes everything, because the more you focus on growth, the less power their actions have over you. Growth also shows up in your results. The best response to pain is progress. The best clap back to betrayal is building. The best proof that you've overcome is living at a higher level than before. People may not believe your words, but they cannot argue with your transformation. And once you've grown into the person you were meant to be, the hurt that once broke you will become the very story that inspires someone else to heal. So the next time you feel hurt, don't just see it as pain, see it as your personal trainer. Every repetition of hurt builds a muscle of resilience. Every test of betrayal builds your endurance. Every rejection builds your confidence to stand without needing validation. Growth is the ultimate revenge, because it turns what was meant to break you into the exact thing that built you. That's how you take hurt and flip it into power. When someone hurts you, the temptation is to shrink back, to wall yourself off, and to allow their absence or their words to echo so loudly that it paralyzes you. But the most powerful response is not retreating into bitterness. It is building something so strong, so undeniable, that their absence is no longer a loss, but a release. When you build, you are declaring with your actions that you are not defined by who left, what was said, or how they tried to break you. You are defined by the strength, vision, and determination you choose to live with every single day. Building requires focus. You cannot build anything worthwhile if you are still staring at the rubble of what was broken. You have to turn your attention forward. If you spend your energy replaying what they did, you'll waste the energy you need to construct what you're destined to create. Building means you don't stay in the destruction. You take the materials life handed you and shape them into something greater. The pieces of pain can become the foundation of your power if you decide to use them that way. When you build, you replace bitterness with blueprints. Instead of using your imagination to rehearse revenge, you use it to design your future. You start mapping out what your next season will look like. You decide who you want to become, what you want to achieve, and what kind of life you want to live. Vision always comes before manifestation, and if you can see it clearly in your spirit, you can build it with your actions. The beautiful thing about building is that it doesn't require you to announce anything. You don't have to run back and tell the people who doubted you what you're about to do. You don't have to convince them of your value or prove your worth with words. Building in silence is often more powerful than boasting in noise. Because when the results show up, they speak louder than anything you could have ever said. Results are undeniable. They silence gossip. They cancel doubt. They erase the lies. Part of building is consistency. You can't build something extraordinary by quitting every time you feel weak or discouraged. You can't lay one brick and expect a mansion. Day after day, you have to commit to showing up, even when nobody's watching, even when no applause comes, even when you feel tired. Consistency is what turns dreams into structures and visions into reality. The people who hurt you will expect you to crumble. Your consistency is the proof that you cannot be shaken. Building also means redefining your circle. You cannot construct greatness surrounded by voices that only echo your past pain. You need people who push you forward, who hold you accountable, and who remind you of what you're capable of when you forget. The right relationships will help you build faster, stronger, and wiser. And sometimes the people who left were removed not to harm you, but to clear the space for those who are assigned to help build your future. As you build, something incredible happens. Your life begins to shine in ways you don't even notice at first. The very things that were supposed to break you become the reason others look at you with respect. Your progress becomes your defense. Your growth becomes your testimony. You stop needing to explain yourself because the fruit of your labor explains it for you. And fruit speaks a language louder than pain ever could. Building is not just about external success. It's also about building yourself on the inside. Build discipline, build confidence, build patience, build faith. Because when the inside of you is fortified, no storm on the outside can destroy you. The world doesn't just respect what you have, it respects who you've become in the process of creating it. And becoming is always greater than obtaining. Sometimes the person who hurt you will watch from a distance. They may never admit what they did. They may never apologize. They may even try to act like they didn't notice your progress. But silence from them does not diminish the volume of your results. Because when you build, the evidence is undeniable. You've elevated, you've outgrown, you've turned what could have been your prison into your platform. So keep building. Build when it's quiet. Build when it's lonely. Build when it feels like no one believes in you. Because the more you build, the less their absence matters. What you construct in your life becomes the answer to their doubt, the rebuttal to their disrespect, and the proof that you never needed them to validate what God already placed inside of you. Choosing to elevate after being hurt is one of the most powerful decisions you will ever make. Elevation means you refuse to respond on the same level where the offense was given. When someone hurts you, their intention is often to pull you down into a pit of arguments, anger, and retaliation. But when you elevate, you rise above the temptation to match their energy. You choose peace over pettiness, dignity over disrespect, and progress over provocation. Elevation doesn't mean ignoring what happened. It means refusing to let what happened dictate the posture of your spirit. When you walk in elevation, you are declaring that your dignity cannot be stolen. Dignity is not something people give you. It's something you decide to carry no matter the circumstance. Someone can call you names, slander your character, or attempt to ruin your reputation, but your dignity is revealed in how you respond or how you refuse to respond. The higher you go, the less noise you make, because elevation is silent strength. You don't need to shout when your altitude already speaks for you. Elevation also requires discipline. It's easy to clap back, to send that message, to let them know you won't be disrespected. But discipline is when you choose silence not out of weakness, but out of wisdom. You recognize that your energy is too valuable to waste on someone who already showed they don't deserve access to it. When you elevate, you conserve your strength for building your future, not for fighting meaningless battles that lead nowhere. There's a quiet authority that comes with elevation. People notice when you refuse to be dragged into the mud. They notice when your actions don't match the drama that's aimed at you. That kind of authority is more powerful than any insult because it demonstrates that you are in control of yourself. Self-control is the mark of true maturity. Anyone can lash out, but only the strong can hold their peace while walking in purpose. As you elevate, you begin to experience freedom. You're no longer weighed down by the need to explain yourself. You don't feel the urge to defend your name against every rumor or justify your decisions to people who don't matter. Freedom comes when you realize that the same God who raised you up will also vindicate you. You don't have to fight every battle. Sometimes your elevation itself becomes the victory. Elevation also changes your perspective. From a higher level, you see things differently. The same situation that looked devastating on the ground looks small from the mountain. When you rise above, you recognize that the hurt was temporary, the betrayal was seasonal, and the rejection was redirection. What seemed like the end of your story becomes just a chapter that pushed you to higher ground. Elevation gives you clarity, and clarity always comes with distance from the chaos. When you elevate, you attract peace. Your spirit becomes calmer, your energy becomes lighter, and your decisions become sharper. People may not understand how you can remain so composed after being wrong, but that composure is evidence that you've chosen to operate at a different frequency. Peace is not weakness. Peace is power under control. It's the kind of power that allows you to keep moving forward while others waste time plotting against you. Another powerful part of elevation is joy, not the kind of joy that depends on people treating you right, but the kind that flows from within, regardless of what others did. Joy is a weapon. It disarms your enemies, confuses those who tried to break you, and strengthens you to keep pressing on. When you carry joy in the midst of betrayal, you send a message that you cannot be shaken. That kind of joy is contagious. It not only heals you, but it inspires others who are watching you rise. Elevation also protects your destiny. The truth is, every reaction has a cost. Every time you choose to fight battles you were never meant to fight, you delay your journey forward. Elevation means guarding your destiny by refusing to get stuck in the traps of distraction. What they said, what they did, how they acted, it's all noise meant to keep you from the greater future ahead. When you elevate, you refuse to forfeit your calling just to win an argument. And perhaps the greatest beauty of elevation is that it happens without an announcement. You don't have to declare that you're rising. People will see it. They will notice the peace you carry, the success you build, the confidence you exude, and the joy you radiate. Elevation speaks for itself. And the ones who hurt you will eventually realize that their attempt to drag you down only pushed you higher than you ever would have gone without them. Flipping the script through results means you stop wasting your voice and start letting your life do the talking. Words can be debated, denied, and dismissed, but results cannot be ignored. When someone hurts you, their goal is often to distract you, to keep you emotionally stuck, or to convince you that you don't have what it takes. But the moment you shift your focus from revenge to results, everything changes. You begin to channel all the energy that could have been wasted on arguments into building something undeniable. Results carry a weight that no excuse, no gossip, no rumor can compete with. You don't need to clap back when your life is the evidence. You don't need to explain yourself when your progress becomes the loudest response. Someone can question your character, but they can't question the fruit of your labor. They can doubt your ability, but they cannot deny your achievements. That's the beauty of results. They silence noise without you saying a single word. When you dedicate yourself to results, you step into a place of focus. Distractions lose their power over you because you're too busy creating, growing, and achieving. Focus means you stop checking for who's watching and start building whether or not anyone notices. It means you stop looking back at the person who hurt you and start looking ahead at the life you're determined to create. Focused people don't have time to argue because their destiny is too big to be delayed by drama. Results also speak across time. You may not see the impact today, but every small step you take, every discipline you embrace, every seed you plant is accumulating. And eventually, the harvest shows up in ways no one can ignore. The same people who once doubted you will have to acknowledge the evidence of your growth. The beauty is that by the time the results are visible, you won't even care about proving them wrong. You'll be too busy living in the proof of what you've built. There's a quiet power in producing results. You don't need to argue when your bank account, your business, your relationships, your peace of mind, or your growth tell the story. You don't need to beg for respect when your life commands it through what you've accomplished. You don't need to force closure when your success demonstrates that what was meant to harm you only propelled you forward. That's why focusing on results is more effective than focusing on revenge. It turns your life into a testimony. Results require patience, and patience requires faith. You cannot expect overnight transformation. But that's the point. Results are powerful precisely because they prove you endured, you stayed consistent, and you didn't quit when it would have been easier to retaliate. Anybody can fight back in the moment, but only the strong can hold their peace and let their progress tell the story over time. Results are proof that you refuse to break under pressure. Producing results also changes your posture. You walk differently when you know your work is speaking for you. You no longer feel the need to explain or defend yourself because you understand that explanation is temporary, but results are permanent. You carry yourself with quiet authority because you know that evidence is stronger than opinion. That shift in posture not only influences how others see you, but it also transforms how you see yourself. Another powerful aspect of living through results is the ripple effect it creates. When you rise through your work, others are inspired by your example. People who saw you endure pain will also see you thrive